Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is at a deciding moment. We are running into some important resistance just here. So in just a moment, I'll be going over my next Bitcoin price targets, and I'll also be covering the massive bounce that the stock market has now seen just over the past few days. This is important for Bitcoin holders, believe it or not. All that and more in this video. So make sure you're watching to the end so that you're not missing out on all of this important information. And if that sounds good to you, before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future videos. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos each and every day. So if you could just spend a couple seconds out of your day to click like and subscribe, that seriously means a lot to me and it helps out the channel so much. But with that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And obviously, as you can see here, the Bitcoin price is still running into this short-term resistance that we were talking about just yesterday on the channel. And of course, this is still the same descending line of resistance that Bitcoin has been held under for the past 3 weeks approximately. So technically speaking, Bitcoin hasn't really confirmed a new uptrend just yet. After we break above this level just here, and more importantly, if we could break above this previous high just here, then at that stage, we can start to call this next move a potential uptrend starting again. But of course, an uptrend still isn't confirmed until we also see a higher low. So even if Bitcoin gets a rejection along this level and comes back down to even around 31,000 US dollars, something like that can still play out as a bullish move for as long as we're really holding above 30,000. That is the important level we must hold. For as long as we're above 30,000 US dollars, really there's no reason to be overly bearish on the market. As I've mentioned in a lot of my Bitcoin videos over the past couple months, during this entire time period that we've been in these lower areas just here in the low $30,000 areas, I've constantly mentioned that once again, I will flip bearish on Bitcoin over the next few weeks and months if we see a confirmed break below 30,000. But so far over the past couple months, every single time that we've come back down towards 30,000 US dollars, we've either bounced off 30 to 31,000 or dipped slightly below it without really a confirmed break below. So once again, that little range just there from around 30,000 to 31,000, that is still important support for Bitcoin to pay attention to. But yeah, as I was just saying earlier, we haven't really confirmed a new uptrend just yet because right now we are yet to actually form a higher high. If you're looking at this previous high just here, which by the way, that previous high is coming in at around 34,500 US dollars. Now keep in mind on the 2-hour time frame just here, this is the 2-hour chart. As you can see just here, the Bitcoin price over the past 1 day approximately, we have actually been forming a massive divergence on the 2-hour time frame. Once again, as you can see just there, the Bitcoin price has been heading to the upside while the RSI on the 2-hour time frame has been heading to the downside. So this right here is actually a bearish divergence for Bitcoin because we are seeing higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. And what it basically means for Bitcoin moving forward is basically in the short term, we're actually due to at least enter a bit of sideways consolidation, if not slightly to the downside. That's basically all a bearish divergence means. It means that we are unlikely to continue to shoot to the upside. Now, of course, it's not impossible for us to shoot to the upside, but it's just simply more likely at this stage just here that we at least consolidate in around this area just here at the current price levels. If not, have a slight pullback to the downside. And once again, if we do actually pull back to the downside, we could actually be forming a slight inverse head and shoulders pattern, even if you're looking at that shoulder just there and then the head and that shoulder, or if you're looking at the neckline just there, as you can see, we still can use that as the left shoulder, or even the neckline like this, we can still use that there as the left shoulder. So there is a couple different ways to look at this inverse head and shoulders pattern, but no matter how you draw that neckline just there, we have still not seen the right shoulder for this inverse head and shoulders pattern. So that is not confirmed until we can actually see the right shoulder form and break above these current price levels to the upside with confirmation. And of course, as I was mentioning just yesterday, if we can see that confirmed break to the upside, then this potential next move to the upside is coming in at around 36.3K, approximately around 36,500, which by the way is major resistance for Bitcoin, previously confirmed as resistance once again, and also bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from swing high to swing low. As you can see just here, when you're taking it from that $41,000 high down to that $29,000 low just there, the golden pocket is coming in at pretty much that exact same price target, around 36,500 US dollars. So we do actually have quite a few different things all pointing to 36.5K day approximately. But that price target, once again, is only activated. It only comes into play if we can see a confirmed break above these levels just here. And by the way, the levels that I'm talking about is approximately 33,000 US dollars. If we can really break above 33,000 with some strong confirmation, then that's where I would expect those high price targets to come into play. Quickly summarizing, once again, we could have a first little stop off at that high just there at around 34,500. But yeah, once again, my main focus to the upside will be 36,500. But of course, we have not, at the time of filming this video, we have not seen a confirmed break above this resistance just yet. So we still cannot rule out the possibility of a potential rejection along this level, because obviously, while the price is still below this level, it is technically speaking resistance. And so far, every single time the price has come into contact with this resistance line just here, we have actually seen a rejection. So once again, that is totally a possibility moving forward. And if that's the case, if we cannot get above this resistance level, if we cannot get above 33,000 within the next couple of days or so, I do actually expect a bit of a short-term pullback, a bit of a short-term rejection along this level just here. And if that's the case just there, I would actually expect the Bitcoin price to come back down to roughly around 31,000 US dollars as our next point of support that I will be targeting once again. All right, now quickly taking a look at the stock market. If you're wondering why I'm covering the stock market on this crypto channel, it is because the stock market, believe it or not, is somewhat correlated to crypto. I know that fundamentally speaking, the stock market and Bitcoin are obviously completely different fundamentally speaking, but the valuations, the actual US dollar price of these assets are somewhat correlated when you're actually taking a look at the charts just here. Because first of all, recently in the stock market, we did actually have a decent little dip here. And about 3 days ago, this bottomed out and we saw a nice bounce over the past 3 days. And now on the same time frame on the daily chart, but on the Bitcoin chart just here, as you can see, we did see a bit of downside price action leading into this bounce that we saw 3 days ago. And ever since then, we have seen 3 daily green candles, just like in the stock market. So this right here, this is actually the S&P 500. And the fact that we are holding this uptrend here in the short term, this is good for Bitcoin, believe it or not, because a major component of investing all round in any market is confidence. So in a bullish stock market, confidence is high, and that's what we need for crypto. If we have high confidence across all markets, then that means that investors are more comfortable with actually throwing some money in some more riskier type assets such as crypto. Now, of course, you can make the argument that if you're holding Bitcoin for the long term, it isn't really that risky. But right now, I'm just speaking from the perspective of a traditional investor, someone that has come from the stock market and is looking to take on a little bit more risk considering the stock market is in a nice uptrend. Now, this chart just here is even crazier for Bitcoin. This is the NASDAQ index. And ever since around the middle of February, at that peak just back there, we have been forming this massive ascending triangle pattern, as you can see just here. And then in around the middle of June, towards the end of June, we did actually break out to the upside out of this pattern. We came back down to get a perfect retest around 3 to 4 days ago just here. Got this nice little bounce, just as what we saw in Bitcoin as well. And right now, the NASDAQ is approaching its all-time high levels with this bullish retest out of this bullish ascending triangle pattern. And if you're actually taking a look on the chart, the last time we saw a pattern just like what we're seeing right now was actually back at the end of 2020. This pattern started in September 2020, and we broke to the upside out of this ascending triangle pattern in around November 2020. And then as you can see just here, ever since around November 2020 up until around February 2021, the NASDAQ had this nice bull trend as we were breaking out to the upside out of this bullish ascending triangle pattern. All right, now here we are back on the Bitcoin to US dollar chart on the same time frame, the daily time frame, and let's take a look at what Bitcoin was doing during that same time period of that initial ascending triangle pattern that we just looked at on the NASDAQ. Well, first of all, while that triangle was actually forming on the NASDAQ, that was this period just here in between September, which was right there, and November, which was right here. And once again, it was during November right here when Bitcoin was at roughly around 15,000 US dollars that the NASDAQ was breaking out to the upside out of that ascending triangle pattern. And if you remember on the NASDAQ, it was in between November right there, November 2020 up to February 2021 that we saw this massive bullish trend over in the NASDAQ. And of course, this flowed over to Bitcoin, as you can see just here. So of course, they are not 100% correlated. So for example, the NASDAQ didn't have this decent sized correction halfway through, but the major trends are pretty well correlated. So usually when the stock market is in a really bullish uptrend, it flows over to Bitcoin. And if the stock market starts consolidating sideways or even going bearish, that also flows over to Bitcoin. So keep in mind that during that time period just there, from the breakout out of that original ascending triangle pattern in the NASDAQ, when you're actually looking at that same time period on the Bitcoin chart, that was almost a 300% gain to the upside. So if the same thing happens, now of course this is just speculation, speculation, but let's just say a similar thing happens where we see another roughly around 300% gain from the current prices. Well, that would put the Bitcoin price, let's actually zoom out a little bit further. That would put the Bitcoin price at around 130,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. Now, once again, that there is just speculation, but it can give us a rough idea on what we could expect moving forward in the longer term. Once again, obviously do not expect those sort of prices in the short term, as in over the next few weeks and months, but it is totally possible for Bitcoin to hit that 6-figure price range next year. That is actually when I will be targeting for Bitcoin to hit above 100,000 US dollars just next year in 2022. But once again, that still does depend on whether or not the stock market is still looking bullish at that time as well. Because Bitcoin is obviously designed to be a hedge against inflation due to the hard cap of the Bitcoin supply, but it was never designed to be a hedge against the stock market. That was never Satoshi's intention with Bitcoin. And by the way, I continue to give you guys extra information, these bonus updates over on my Twitter. So if you aren't following me over on Twitter, definitely check that out. The link is in the description down below. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you got something valuable out of this video that you could take away and help make you some money in the crypto markets, because that is my goal with these videos. I seriously just want to help as many of you as I possibly can. And in return, if you could simply just drop a like on the video down below, and if you're new to the channel, if you could just subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on, that seriously means a lot to me and it helps out the channel so much. Honestly, I appreciate all of the support on the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. But anyway, that's really everything I have to say for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.